Hi,
Hello.
hello. I'm Otaviano Canuto. This is my son, Lucas Braga, and this is the second part of my contribution to the series of Talk to Me, an initiative from Huffington Post to increase the conversations between parents and kids. And I have the pleasure of having this guy here. So, how do you do?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here. It's good to have a platform to have my voice heard. And it's always a good time to spend time with my dad.
Great. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
You did your undergraduate course in
Mhm.
Wisconsin at the University of Wisconsin Medicine, and maybe you should share with our friends here
Mhm.
how it has been this period in between the conclusion of your undergraduate
Mhm.
studies and the thing that you are doing now. This young fellow here is 25 years old, but he's already running a successful business in healthcare, and but that obviously could not be foreseen by him
Right.
when he finished school. So he might have something to tell you guys about those feelings that you tend to have right after school and how
Right.
it is to move on.
Yeah, so I went to school for science, basically biochemistry, chemistry, biology, etc., with the intent of going to medical school afterwards. But then, as many people do, they half of the incoming freshmen will probably tell you that they're pre-med, and by the time that they're seniors, they've put all of this effort into this coursework to go to medical school, but the truth is that 95% of them will never make it to medical school. For me, it was a little bit different. I put this effort into going to medical school and kind of lost the interest along the way. So once I graduated, I had a degree that basically was not really, it wasn't really worth anything. It was just a degree that made me qualified to be a lab assistant maybe, or be some kind of researcher and just work in that science field, but it wasn't something that was conducive to me developing a career in that, especially because it's not what I was interested in. My degree was solely so that I could go to medical school, and once that fell through, I didn't really have a direction. So what happened in my particular case, and it's a very unique scenario, I feel like. Of course, there's a lot of people that will be able to relate, but it's definitely not the majority of people. Is that I always had an interest in fitness and in health and well-being in general. So through that, I began learning more about nutrition, exercise, physiology, and things like that, and starting to apply that and start working with people one-on-one, trying to guide them and give them some kind of coaching to help them achieve their goals in terms of whether it be weight loss or some kind of athletic performance or competition prep or things like that. And through that, I found myself in the health field again as I started working for a medical staffing company, except I was doing marketing and sales, so I was basically a glorified sales rep, really. But it gave me the opportunity to really learn about that field and learn about what it meant to really have a full-time job after college, aside from my small business that I was running, doing coaching and nutrition consultations. And through that healthcare field, I was networking a tremendous amount, obviously, since it's marketing in nature. And I met people that were looking to start a medical weight loss program. And with my background, I guess I got lucky in some ways, but luck is really when you're prepared and then an opportunity presents itself. So my background fit perfectly with the job description, which was to develop the business and really develop not just the infrastructure and the procedures, but really develop the MO of the business, to develop the motto and how the business would operate, and to bring together the team that would carry out that model. So it was a unique opportunity for me because it brought together my science expertise, my nutrition knowledge, and also which was the hardest part of it, was the fact that I didn't have a business background. I don't consider myself a business person, and I never took any accounting classes, any entrepreneurship classes. So there was a lot of self-learning. That was a pretty steep learning curve, but the business was built based on my personal beliefs, and our CEO, he gave me basically carte blanche to do whatever I wanted to do and to really implement my ideologies into this business. So again, that's a tremendous opportunity, and that's something that most people will find. But I think the take-home lesson is really to keep your options open, and to never think that whatever you're doing now is the end goal, because opportunities might present themselves when you least expect. So just try to do the best that you can while you're at it. And I think now that I'm in a position where I'm hiring people that are coming out of school, I can see very, very clearly the millennial mentality, and the difference between being unemployed out of school and then making a couple of decisions that might seem like common sense, but that in the long run make you unemployable. For instance, and I was on this boat as well. My wife went through the same experience too, where you come out of your undergrad, you have plans that don't really pan out. And by the time you're out on the job market, you have little to no job experience. You have a degree, and for some reason, when we're in college, we get this mentality that, well, I have a degree, so now I'm worth something, so I'm going to get a job and be successful right off the bat. But the fact of the matter is that it doesn't work that way. That job experience and experience in the field that you want to be in is way more valuable than any kind of degree that you may have. So the big mistake that I feel that I almost made, the mistake that my wife claims to have made, although I think her degrees are worth something to her, but is to finish your undergrad, not get a job right away, and go back to school for a master's degree feeling like after that you will be worth more. But the fact of the matter is, you come out of undergrad, you're 21, 22, maybe 23, another 2 years of master's, you're 25. At that point, you have no job experience. You're overqualified for the entry-level jobs, and it's a lot easier for the employers to hire someone right out of college that will be way cheaper for them, and this person is a lot greener, so to speak. They're a lot more open to learning and not feeling like they're entitled to a higher level position, like many of the people that I happen to interview for the positions that I hire for, which are anywhere from a office assistant to a medical director for a program, so anywhere in between. So I think that that's the big trap for people our generation and the millennials, so to speak, is that the schooling and degrees are not worth as much as job experience. So whatever it is that you do in undergrad, make sure you're getting work experience. You're working in anything. It doesn't matter if you're just interning, or if you have a not even paid lab job. In my case, since I was in biochemistry and things like that. But really try to do something so you have something to say when you go into an interview. When your resume basically has just your degree and maybe a couple of waiting jobs and a couple of just jobs to make money, that's very easy for people to just look at your resume and move on. So really, job experience is the biggest factor, and it's something that I learned the hard way because I had little to no job experience beside a little like lab work while I was in undergrad, which was simply to get me into medical school. So.
Great, fantastic. See, walk the walk and do your part to be ready to seize the opportunities when they come. Luck is mostly the outcome of your effort and dedication.
That's right. That's right.
Very good.
So I ask you a question now.
Oh.
What is it that you do, really? I know that you work at the IMF, but
right.
what is a typical day like for you? That's something I've always been very curious about.
Right. Currently, what I do is the following. I sit at the board that approves or refuses policies to be implemented and followed by the IMF, as well as the analysis of the countries of the world that have signed the Articles of Agreements of the IMF. In a previous incarnation, I was a vice president at the World Bank, and before that, vice president at the Inter-American Development Bank. And in those cases, I did the thing. I was not at the board approving what other people proposed. And in my case, in the case of any member of the board, we are 24, we have to wear a double hat. On the one hand, we have to take care of the fiduciary state of arts of the institution, and on the other, we also have to pay attention and represent the interests of the countries that voted on us. I, for one, was voted by Brazil and 10 other countries, and ultimately we serve the countries that have voted on us. I enjoy what I do, and if anybody asks me whether I was thinking of doing what I have done in the last 13 years of my life, if someone had asked me 14 years, I would say, no way, you're crazy. Right. So we have to walk the walk, and as I said, be ready to cross the river and you know, undergo any storm that comes ahead, because if we do our part, we have a high likelihood of succeeding.
Be prepared for when opportunities present themselves, because they will present themselves inevitably at some point. It's up to you to A, see them, and then B, seize them.
Right. See, great thank yous, and you know, he's hiring.
Find me on LinkedIn.
And then the series continued with the other kid that I have.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.